yet. And the recording's going now too.
Yeah, exactly. We got all this technical stuff done like 2 minutes before we're going to go live, apparently. Anyway, what's going on in Seattle? It's like summer here in New York.
It is rainy here. Like it's just been rain, 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 which I mean, I guess we're known for, but it was a lot last night, and our houses are being painted. I live in a neighborhood where we all paint our houses at the same time. So the painters have the downspouts off of many of our homes. And so the rain just sounds more intense and like isn't being channeled to like one place. Like you just hear it coming off anyway.
Right. You know, I tell people though, because they're like, oh yeah, doesn't it rain a lot there? I said, well, it rains a lot, but it actually missed. And it kind of isn't all the time, but because it's consistent, it has higher I mean, it is a rainforest. I didn't know that till I moved there.
Yeah.
Did you know that? It's a rainforest.
Yeah, there's the whole rainforest right on the Pacific Peninsula, or on the peninsula, Washington, our peninsula.
Right.
And yeah, it was like a bonus because when we first moved here, you could visit the rainforest one day, and then the next day you could actually take a day trip to visit a glacier. And so it's just a cool, like, weird.
And one day you can be on the other side of the mountain and you're in the sunshine and the desert. I know it's an amazing state. Well, welcome to Sleeping in Seattle. We want you to sleep better and better and be able to rest your head. I'm currently on a book tour. My name is Barbara Badolati, and why don't I ever have the book with me? But anyway, I wrote Sleep Blissful, Natural Ways to Fall Asleep, Stay Asleep, and Wake Refreshed. It went #1 on Amazon. And so I've been traveling the country, thank you, and doing a book tour. So I'm currently in Saratoga Springs, New York. And if you want, put in the chat where you're from or where you're laying your head. And Helen, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I'm Helen. Thank you so much. And I'm really happy. I'm so excited that we're doing these conversations. And this is the first of what I hope will be a great series. But my name is Helen Sernett, and I created a podcast called Sleepless, where I am the host, and it is my sole desire to list you to sleep at night. So yeah, I have the first season of 6 episodes out, and the second season of 6 episodes starts to drop in October 7th.
We are accomplished women.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah. So Carol is in Wisconsin, and Michelle is in Florida. Got a couple of other people from Michigan.
Hey, Michigan.
Yeah, that's right. Our home state. That's right. Gosh. So anyway, what we want to talk about tonight or today is interrupted sleep. And I was just at an appointment, and we got in the conversation about this live. And sure enough, her kitty cat wakes her up at like 3 or 4 o'clock and wants to cuddle in with her. And she is not going to shut the door or put the cat anywhere else but the bedroom.
No, I had a really interesting situation with a cat waking me up. Our previous cat, as she got older, she was just happy to be fed in the morning. That was her thing. And she would wake us up in the morning. It was great to have a timer until her internal capabilities of telling time stopped working for her as she aged. She did peacefully pass away at the age of 21. So she was quite an elderly cat. But yeah, she would wake us up earlier and earlier until it got to be about 4 a.m. And we had to slowly retrain her. You can teach an old cat new tricks because we retrained her to be prepared to eat her big meal of the day after we got home from work. So
yeah, I know. So the pet thing is a unique situation, right? I mean, that was brilliant of you to change the time. And that happens, that's another thing that interrupts us, which is our having to urinate, having to go to the bathroom. And I get this a lot with clients. And so an empty bladder will not wake you up. So it's the same as your cat, which I think her name was Pounce.
Yeah. Her empty stomach was waking us up, and we needed to stop that.
Exactly. So, right, change it around. And so that might be something if you're finding, and I did see this when I asked people, what is keeping you up at night or what wakes you up in the middle of the night? And a lot of people said, I have to go to the bathroom. We'll talk about hot flashes in a minute. So we want to give you some remedies as we go here. So one of the things is to change the eating, drinking habit. And I know some people like chamomile tea to help them go to sleep at night. However, and I also have had people that don't start even hydrating until midday. So you really want to start with 8 to 12 ounces of water first thing in the morning, preferably with lemon. Lemon is acidic, but it does have an alkaline effect after you drink it, which our bodies need that with our pH. So if you can just notice when you start drinking and maybe stop taking in any fluids at least 2 to 3 hours prior. And then of course you're just see if these are just tips for you, just like you did with pounds, where you can make those adjustments and see if they work for you.
I think it's a double bonus because that first glass of like 8 to 12 ounces of water, like in the morning, like by the time I'm done with my shower in the morning, I want to be done with that glass of water. I feel so much better during my day too. So like, it's a double bonus. Like you will sleep better because you won't be as interrupted in your sleep, but also it helps your body wake up and like get going, that glass of water in the morning.
Right, exactly. So everybody right now, whatever,
take a hydration break, little moment, make sure you've got your hydration with you.
Yep, and bless your water when you do that. So what else? Like what else? I mean, I can refer
loud noises, right? Like things that wake you up in the middle of the night. If you've got a high traffic street near your window.
Well, there's so many noises, right? It could be somebody is snoring. It could be sounds of appliances. It could be that, I mean, there's people that sometimes have their devices on. So there's all kinds of external noises. Could be a dog barking in the middle of it. I mean, there's so many sounds that can wake us up, no matter how deeply we sleep. I lived by a highway at one time. And of course, when I previewed the apartment, the highway didn't bother me. It was during the day. And then when I moved in and my bedroom was next to this highway and it went all night long. I don't think the 405 ever stops. So I just thought, how am I going to ever get through this? And so I helped my mind reframe it into, oh, this is the sound of the ocean.
Yeah.
And so part of it is, right, reprogramming how it serves you.
Yeah, your own brain, how you're viewing your situation, like you don't want to be in bed listening to cars drive past you all night long, but it would be lovely to be on vacation and have your window open and hear the ocean. They're very similar sounds. Like you can trick your brain into that.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I loved about when we were preparing, because you were also talking about lulling yourself to sleep. So whether you're going to the bathroom in the middle of the night or there's an alarming noise that wakes you up. I mean, I lived by a train at one time. And so talk a little bit about that soothing yourself, because I think that's really
self-soothing.
helpful.
Yeah. I mean, it can feel a little silly at first, but for now, but I really got more excited about it and into it when I saw my child doing it and realized that like talking nicely to yourself is like 110% normal. We just stop doing it as we grow older because of social reasons. And so in the middle of the night, in the privacy of my own home, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I like from the second I wake up, I just start saying like nice things to myself about how I'm going to drift back to sleep, how it's calm, like it's totally fine, like that my body woke me up. It's so great that I have this body that's capable of doing so many things, and that I can just like really tell myself like self-soothe myself as if I was putting a child back to sleep if they wake up in the middle of the night, but just talk to yourself in that same kind of loving and respectful way.
Yeah. And the same thing too, when I do wake up, for whatever reason, I immediately, because somebody was telling me, they're like, oh, my mind just starts going. And I'm like, yeah, I could go down that road. But instead, I immediately say, you're just going to barely wake up just enough to go to the bathroom. You're going to go right back asleep. Oh, something woke you up. It's okay. We're going to go right back to sleep. Like, I just immediately tell myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And kind to yourself. Like, it's the time for sleeping. It's not the time for your brain to be awake and running around. And so you just have to sort of tell your brain, hey, I promise we'll get to all those thoughts later, but right now you gotta sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes when we start down that habit of not, or getting frustrated because it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I really actually need these next 2 hours of sleep, and I'm going to have a full day tomorrow. And you start down that rabbit hole, that is going to just exasperate it more. So we really do have to be the masters of our own thoughts, environment, bodies, all of it as much as possible, because we don't always have choices, and yet we do have choices.
Well, and one of the things that helps me to remember is that sleeping, like pretending to sleep, is also restful. Like,
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. Say more.
Well, because yeah, like there's, I mean, as I understand it, I've read some articles and there's some studies about this, but basically like resting
I've read some articles
your
and there's
brain.
studies about this, but
That's what we want to do, is rest our brain. And so we just need to shut it down a little bit and give yourself that pretend that you're sleeping, and that'll help you go into sleep.
Give yourself that pretend that you're sleeping, and that'll help you go into sleep. Give yourself that pretend.
You know what? Hold on a second. I think something's going on with, there we go. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah, I got you now.
I think something, the thing is I'm trying to see if there's anybody on Facebook that's making comments, and then it triggers open that.
Because it's like, because you can't, it's hard to see the comments without seeing, without having the video up. I'm having the same issue.
Okay. All right. Well, if anybody's commenting, or we can't really see it without triggering that, I'm sure there's a way. We'll figure it out.
We'll get better at these.
Yeah, we'll get better at these. But yeah, I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, the pretending that you're asleep is really it's like the next best thing, and it's still really good rest. Like, you're still getting good rest.
Yes. And that's another way to self-soothe, right? It's like, okay, I will just rest. Now, of course, you could put in your ear pods and, listen to another meditation tape, or there's other things you can do. Do not go on your devices. We know what not to do. And yet just resting. I've used that before many times, especially if I'm traveling or have jet lag, and my sleep is all off, which we're going to talk about circadian rhythms another time.
Yeah.
But that I just now have told myself, like, resting or even a restorative pose is the equivalent of an hour's worth of sleep. So there again is a little tip, but also a way to self-soothe yourself so that you don't get all frustrated with all of it. So,
right. Especially that rabbit hole that you were talking about, where you're worried that you're not going to be able to do your next day. You have to remind yourself that pretending to sleep or just resting quietly. I mean, I love a good shavasana, right? Like, just hanging out on your back, just the corpse pose. It's beautiful. And in fact, the other day I wasn't feeling up for my regular workout. I did a whole restorative yoga workout and was like, why don't I do this more often? Like, I feel great.
Right. And we're going to talk about some things that you can do during the day as well. But I want to make sure that I share with people. So in the Sleep Blissful bundle, there are 20 plus videos and supplemental materials for insomnia, evening wind down, morning ritual, and rest and restore. So I want to share with everybody, if you do wake up in the middle of the night and you do need a little bit of help going back to sleep, there's an acupressure point. It's called the yin tang. It's between the eyebrows on the bridge of the nose, kind of in this area. I wouldn't say it's so much the third eye. I would say it's more just right in this area, but the easy thing to do is either with your knuckle of your thumb or a finger, just put that knuckle. And if you lay on your side, it's even easier, right? Because your arm and your hand are already supported by the pillow. So you don't have to press in hard. You don't have to do anything, right? You just have to simply let it rest there. And that meridian point triggers relaxation. And it also helps to kind of shut off the brain. So I would suggest that yin tang point if you do need help falling to sleep or in the middle of if you wake up.
I think my husband's is somehow up here for him, because I can put my hand on his head and like shut off his brain. It literally, it's like a switch. He'll just like, he can't think about anything. He just goes right to sleep. Like it's very,
that.
yeah. I don't know if
that's beautiful. Well,
from his childhood, but
yeah, but if you have partners, that's the way to go.
Yeah, if you have a partner who can help you by like doing that, it's very powerful to have somebody else participate in your soothing rituals.
Yeah, some of the other ones we came up with is like nightmares, dreams waking us up, might have something to do with what you're viewing.
Yes,
Go to bed.
I had a crazy dream about cults. And like my family was stuck in a cult the other day, and I realized we'd finished watching Indiana Jones the night before.
It's not violent, really.
No, it's not violent, but like it was like I had earlier earlier in the week I'd watched a thing about another cult that kind of came into power, and then we watched this Indiana Jones thing where it's like, this death cult, and and then like all of a sudden in my dreams I'm like stuck in a death cult. I'm trying to save my kid from like, I don't know, someone like some crazy, it was crazy. Yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night, was like, oh my gosh, that was Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
and so you got to remember.
Yeah, pay attention to what's feeding into your eyes, your pupil, into the brain. It really does have an effect on us and can wake us up. Also, I would say be mindful of what you're eating. Spicy foods can have an effect on people. The different digestive issues can come up based on how soon you eat to bedtime, as well as what you eat. So maybe just all of these are lifestyle factors that you get to assess and tweak or adjust or whatever needs to happen, and just try different things, right? Let's see, what else did we come up with?
We talked about phones. I wanted to take a sec to talk about phones. Yeah, because as much as I love my phone and I even use it as my alarm, which doesn't work for everyone, but it's okay for me because I've set up my phone to have a sleep mode on. And so I don't get texts or calls between like 9:30 at night when I'm winding down for bed to 6:30 in the morning when I'm waking up. Like I've got it set up so that it won't do that for me. And it's a little bit complex, but I have some resources on my website at sleepless.com that in the resource page where it's a one sheeter about how to handle Apple phone and Android phones, and to how to set up some do not disturbs, and also allow loved ones to come through, because that's a lot of times why people don't set up the do not disturb, is because, oh, well, I need to be able to know if my mother is safe or if my child is safe, or what's going on. And so you can select certain numbers to always come through, or to interrupt the do not disturb filter if they come through a number of times. Like anyone who comes through 3 times in a short period of time, it rings the third time.
Exactly. Yeah, there is a workaround. So I really appreciate you saying that, because I've gotten that before too, where people are like, no, I can't do that. So that is on Sleepless, LISTS.com. We'll put it in the show notes too. And thank you very much for, and then again, it goes on and on. If you haven't changed your mattress, or you don't have a good mattress, that might wake you up. If you're in any kind of physical pain, that can wake you up. So there's a lot of other things that we could uncover, and we might circle back around. If anybody else has anything that they want to share, by all means, put it in the comments.
Yeah, questions or things going on, we'll circle back. We'll also review in our next conversation too, if we need to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, can you think of anything else?
I mean, the bed thing it's a luxury. We several years ago invested in a bed that has the inflatable bladders in it, that you can change the softness and hardness of your bed. And it also does lots of tracking of our sleep, but it is such a good investment. I mean, if you can at all, like if sleep is, and especially if you and your partner have very disparate sleep sizes, like if you're different sizes, or you have very different sleep size schedules or cycles, or however you work, man, this bed, I mean, works for my husband who's 6'3", and works for me who's not even 5 feet tall. And I don't know what other kind of bed we could have found to do that. So
all this time I thought you were like 5'8".
No, I'm very small.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we want to keep this short and sweet enough.
Yes.
We hope that we provided some ideas, some remedies, some tips, some practical, maybe a little bit of humor in there. Yeah, and then we're going to be on again on Monday, October 23rd, so in about a month. And we are going to have it 2:00 Eastern time, 11:00 Pacific on here. Is there anything else, Helen?
Well, we're going to be talking about what happens when you can't fall asleep at the beginning of the night. So that's going to be at the beginning of trying to sleep. And so I know that's, it's a place where I lived in agony, and therefore made a podcast to try to solve my own problem, because no one else was doing what I needed. And so
that was almost a sneeze. That was not a yawn. That was almost a sneeze. And also,
it's okay if you're yawning though. Like my podcast puts people to sleep. It's all right.
And that will refer into the circadian rhythms. Because if you go past that then you're going to like be awake. And so we'll definitely talk about that. So Monday, October 23rd, 11:00 Pacific, 2:00 Eastern. Give us your information, give us your comments, questions. We really want to make this for you. We all suffer from not being able to sleep well all the time. No 2 nights are the same, and been there, done that.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to check out Barbara's whole bundle, because that is a great set of tools. And explore sleepless.com for that like chronic need. If you really can't go to sleep, we'll talk more about it next time, but it is a great
Thank
tool
you.
to try that.
Yeah, we've got great resources too. So anyway, stay calm.
Yeah, stay calm and sleep on. That's what I want.
Helen, see you next month.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.